This is my 1998 Peavey Wolfgang Special. It's one of my favorite guitars that I own, and probably one of my all-time favorite guitars of all time. I don't know. This guitar came out as the cheaper alternative to the 1996 Peavey Wolfgang Standard, but there's nothing cheap about it. It's almost the exact same guitar. A few key differences is tuning pegs are all metal instead of whatever these like pearl looking covers that they have on the standards. There's not a tone knob, which I don't necessarily even care about or use, and the body's more of like this simplistic solid design rather than having the curvature and then that cream white outline that the standards have. I'm not sure if the wood on the body is the same. I know that it's in 3 pieces like the standard, but everywhere it counts that I even care about is the same exact guitar as the standard. For instance, the neck with this like sleek C radius that you can just absolutely fly on. The hardware, that Peavey Floyd Rose, and most importantly, the pickups. They're the same exact pickups on the standard, and these are my all-time favorite pickups. There's a story, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but it's rumored that originally Eddie had worked on these with Ernie Ball, but they weren't giving him enough creative freedom and control over them, so he switched over to Peavey. In one of the first meetings, he walked right up to the department that handles the hardware and the electronics and slams this weird concoction that's like brick-sized on top of this table of just wires, loose wires and magnets, saying, "Now I want you to fit this into that guitar." And they were like, we don't know how. He's like, "Well, you better get on it." And the end product of that are these pickups. Now, I had gotten this guitar because I had a 96 Peavey Wolfgang Pat Pending. That's like the first line of them that ever came out, and I just played the shit out of it. I didn't want it to put too much wear and tear and too many miles onto it. So around 2012, 2013, I went on eBay and found this one, and I instantly fell in love with it. It was my main guitar for recording, for playing, for gigs, anything. But with that, the volume pot started going out on me. I started getting this crackling noise. And then whenever I went to go look at it, I noticed it's real rusted and there's a lot of resistance to it as well. So I wanted to, the main point of this video is I wanted to swap it out with a current Wolfgang EVH low resistance knob. I've done a similar video in the past where I was building this Strat and wanted to swap it out with a YJM Yngwie Malmsteen low resistance speed knob. But on this one, I decided to keep EVH with the EVH product, then maybe compare the two at the end of the video. So the first thing is, this was a very simple solder. I normally go in detail of how to do it, but it's literally one knob. There's no tone, there's not, like, you just got to unsolder these wires and put them right back into place. The first thing I noticed though was there was heavy solder on these. There was a lot, like, they're all American made stuff with Peavey, so I imagine they just took their time, and it made me have to take my time to undo it as well. Another thing on these videos I try to do, not like a PSA, but don't breathe in that shit, like all that smoke that comes up, unless you want to die soon. Or die faster than you're already going to. Another thing was the grounding on it. Normally there's one of these little prongs that you put the wires on, and then to ground it, you just bend one over and then solder it onto it. This wasn't long enough, so I had to like fashion a wire and solder it on. But that was really the only hiccup that I had. This process was so easy. I don't know if you could tell I'm on the phone this whole entire time, like, it with my mom. Like, it was so easy. with that being said, I normally go into these like, oh, that's just going to be like a little easy swap out. And I always run into trouble. For instance, the end of the pot was too big for any volume knobs that I had laying around. It wasn't like the original volume knob was too small for it. And then I went around to my, I don't know, I have like a little lunchbox that I used to use in kindergarten that I just fill up with all my guitar parts and spare parts whenever I take shit apart. None of them fit that either. I went out to all my basses because I figured they'd be bigger. None of those fit either. So I ended up having to call up my local guitar center, and just like every local guitar center, they don't have what I need. So I went to Amazon and typed in something along the lines of like EVH Wolfgang knob or EVH Fender knob or something like that. I found, well, what popped up on the search was a 1969 Fender Jaguar knob. That ended up working. It ended up fitting. Some of these shots in the film are going to be days after I actually went in and replaced the knob or the pot because of shipping. So anyways, the first thing I noticed was how much more quiet it is. Like turning the volume up and down, it's literally silent till you can start hearing the strings vibrate. Then I wanted to test it out with doing this technique that I use with turning the volume up and down real fast while playing notes at the same time with a delayed effect going on. Then after that, I wanted to compare it with the YJM knob that I did in like a similar video years ago, and I couldn't tell too much difference. They feel about the same, so it's more of, you know, whichever one you want to get or whichever one's cheaper, just grab it. They feel the same and are doing the same thing. And then I wanted to compare it to the new 2020 models, or 2020 and on, like one of the last ones like Van Halen signed off on before, you know. So I think they're the same. It feels the same as these new models here in the 2020s and stuff. So yeah, I'm super stoked. I used to only record on this guitar until I started having those issues. I just, like I said, love that sound on it, and I'm glad to get it up and working again with this upgrade. Okay, bye.